Hello, good evening. I hope everyone can hear me okay and see my screen. Good evening on this new moon night. Oops, I've got the sound. Gotta kill it. There we go. Kill the echo. Yeah, it's a new moon. So very often in markets, full moons are associated with intensity. So whatever's going on becomes really intense and heavy and not always, good. It can be great. If the good things are happening, then moon will intensify. And new moons are very often change. So here we are tonight on a new moon, hopefully looking for a change and an end to this downtrend because I am done with it. Now, let's start with Bitcoin because really it's all about Bitcoin. And if Big Daddy goes on a big move, it might damage altcoins for a bit, even though there are quite a lot that look like they have good setups. Now, tonight we're going to start, and I've drawn my fibs from the high in December 2017 to the low here. Now, there's quite a lot of books about Fibonacci retraces and how to draw them. If you read Constance Brown's book, which is really quite a good book about Fibonacci trading, she only draws fibs from highs to lows this way, not the other way around. So we're going to start with this and say, here we are, we retraced to the, we bounced, in other words, to the 61.8 fib. When you do that, your first target, usually when you reverse, is the 50%, which is the pivot in the middle of the golden ratio zone. And then your target is the 38.2, which is the bottom of the golden ratio zone. And if you go beyond that 38.2, which we did here in Bitcoin, here's our 38.2 fib level, then your next target is the 23.6. And you would normally expect to bounce from there back to the middle of, or back to the 50%, but at least back to the 38.2, and you see what happens there. So here we have a bullish, or we're hoping for, we've certainly got a bullish daily reversal candle at the moment, and we are holding on at this 32 reverse 236 fib back test, if you like. And so the no-brainer place, if we do get a decent rally from here, would be back to this big pivot level in the middle, which is the big 38.2, 9,500 lows, 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 highs. And back to see what's going on at the 200-day moving average. But to do that, we've got to have a reversal here. And it may be that if we can't, and we can't get up there, that we stay in it and we can't recover these lows here that we're kind of testing, that we stay in a downtrend and continue lower, because we are in a really strong downtrend. The only thing that's saving us here in terms of moving average trading is the rubber band effect. When we look at how far we are away from these moving averages, whenever that happens, we usually get a snapback rally. So that's looking at it in Bitcoin with the fibs this way. If we take this off, hide these, okay, and we put our fibs on the other way, it's all changed now, I don't know how. Every time I need to get rid of that. Let's draw them again. Okay, we'll draw them from this low to high here in Bitcoin. This is like a last minute trying to save ourselves at this 61.8 fib level, isn't it? This is if I draw it from the December 2018 low. I kind of feel, though, that the low we should be looking at is the yearly low to high for this year. And that comes here in January. And one of the reasons that I like this January low on the 29th of January is because I feel like this was a failed fifth wave. It should have made a new low. And this 29th of January was also where the correction from 2014, 2015 was equal in the number of days to the correction here from the 2017 high. So for me, this is an important low, the 29th of January low. And when I do that and I draw that, the fibs line up really nicely. Either way, whether you put your fib from this low or from this low, it's clear that 61.8 fib levels are messy and that we've got to recover this level if we're going to move higher from here, come back to 8,500 and hopefully our 200-day moving average target, and potentially back to the top of this golden ratio zone when we draw it from this low to high. So That's what we're looking at. Now, there's also on here, there is a, let's talk bullish candlesticks and candlesticks patterns. This green candle today is called a bullish piercing line pattern. It's the opposite, is called dark cloud cover. That's when the market makes a new low, but then rallies and closes more than 50% up of the previous day's open close. So by closing more than 50% up of this previous day's open close, we've got a bullish piercing line reversal pattern. We've also got a pattern called a Hikaki pattern. Now, the last 2 days have been inside bars. They've been inside bars of this big doji with the big long tail. And a Hikaki pattern in Japanese is a false start. So it's basically a false breakdown. So that means, a lot of people trade inside bars. If you're a daily candlestick trader, an inside bar can often give you a cheaper thing. If you were shorting this Bitcoin, for example, on this daily thing, and you have this breakdown of this level, if you're going to sell it as a daily trader, you need a massive stop with your stop the other side. Whereas if you get a little inside bar, you can short the inside bar, put your stop the other side of that inside bar, and you're selling the continuation lower, aren't they? Which is what this looked like. We broke the bottom. That would have triggered people short, and now we've rallied all the way back up again. Well, the Hikaki pattern, and I'm going to show you it. Here it is on Investorspedia, so you can see how it's spelt. It was created by a guy called Daniel, written about in Futures magazine by a guy called Chesler. He's on Twitter. I will find him on Twitter as well. And you can read his original article about it if you search for it using under Chesler and Hikaki pattern. So this Hikaki pattern will trigger if we make a false break of it's basically top and tailing this inside bar. So if we trigger it short this way and then we break higher here, we will trigger the stops of all the people who were short here, and that should give us the rocket fuel to continue higher. And if you think that the rocket fuel of the people shorting, of the people trying to buy Bitcoin has been a lot of what sent us lower, then it would be quite nice to turn it around and start seeing this going higher. So this previous low, the tops of these inside bars, therefore, and this 61.8 level around 73, 74 here at Coinbase. I think it's around 72 something in some of the other exchanges, or the Tether exchanges. We'll take a look in a minute. That's going to be quite a bullish trigger if we can get above that. At the moment, so far today, look, we've gotten rejected. So now we want to see a nice shallow pullback. Something like this would be good, wouldn't it? And then break above it, and an a inverted head and shoulders pattern. That would be a really good look for a bullish reversal here. But either way, I would have an alert above 73, 74. That would signal that Bitcoin is going to attempt a run higher from here. And honestly, I think that we should go then back to 8,600 initially, back to the 50 moving average and back to the middle of this range and see what happens there. If you want to be sure that we're doing this and this is not just a false break higher, then look for us to break higher. Maybe tag this 200 moving average on the hourly, pull back and find support from this 73, 74. That would confirm that we're doing it, and then see it moving higher from there. Okay, so that level. So potentially it's not looking nearly as bad as it did this morning, did it? When we thought the world was ending and Bitcoin was going to hell in a handbasket. We are bouncing a little bit. 73.38 is that level here at Binance Tether. And we'll look at a couple more exchanges. If we look at BitMEX. Now, BitMEX is a little interesting because it looks like we're slightly above it. And that's with us even measuring it. That's with us measuring it from the December low. If we move it up to this 29th of January low, which I do actually prefer, and I've explained why, yearly low to high. I like it because the structure lines up with it better. This first tag of the 38.2 looks better. This retest of the 38.2 and the 61.8 line up better. So I'm going to say here in BitMEX, even though most people will have it drawn from that December low, I'm going to say try that January one, do the fibs from the yearly low to high, and let's look to get above 73.51, which is where we've got, and we can see clearly the resistance at BitMEX as well. So 73.51, let's hope we get something nice like that. If we don't, you know, if we see something really ugly, let's talk about, you know, a false break higher. This could just turn into a big ABC, a false break higher, and then we crash back through. That would be bearish. A bearish equal measured move would say we're still in a downtrend. We really aren't out of trouble at the moment. You know, so far all we've got is just one green candle. So we need to be a little bit careful, but it was a long green, you know, a first green candle after, I don't know, a decent reversal candle after quite a lot of selling is very welcome anyway. So Sniper One says the problem we have a head and shoulders on the 15-minute that may take it lower. Okay. Yeah, okay. So here's your little 15-minute head and shoulders, and I see it. That's fine. But let's talk about it, because if that does take it lower, what's the target for this head and shoulders? Twice the distance from the head, the breakdown point. That just brings us back to the shoulder level of the bigger one that I'm looking at. So no worries at all, you know. No worries at all if this little head and shoulders breaks lower. Big picture, I think that we still could be building a bit of a base here. So Alex says, you must be learning something when you know what I'm going to say. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to move on. I just want to find about this Hikaki pattern so you can read about it. So I'm just going to do a little bit more. I can't find it. I thought I had it. So annoying. I thought I had the page ready and I didn't. So anyway, if you Google it, sometimes you get it. Don't confuse it with Bukkake, because then you get very nasty search results. So there we go. Now, somebody said, can we look at the dominance chart? We definitely can look at the dominance chart, because we have a lot of really nice, interesting, bullish setups, you know, in a lot of the altcoins. And is Bitcoin going to wreck them? And are we going to continue higher from here? Well, here's my Bitcoin dominance chart. I've got my fibs drawn all the way from here, the high in 2013. I actually, and I find that although we've back tested these levels pretty nicely, and this 38.2 was pretty good, the rest of it looks kind of meh. Anyway, if I instead go to 2017 and this high, I find that the fibs line up a lot better, and I find that the 236 fib is like my touchstone. Have I drawn the fibs correctly? Is I always look to see, did I get a reaction at this 236 fib? And if I draw them this way, the 236 was sharp, 38.2 was wishy-washy, 50 was sharp, which it should be, 61.8 is wishy-washy. They are wishy-washy, but we did have a nice reaction here. And then I can say with this way that for every level, the first time we hit it, I got a really good reaction. And so it looks like we've pulled back and we're finding support above this 61.8 level and above this previous high. And I kind of like this, and this is the weekly chart. I kind of like this for like a bullish continuation. I'm looking to see, can we turn up higher from here and set a rally up for the next leg up in Bitcoin dominance. So yeah, I would say if we get above this 50 moving average and this kind of trend line resistance, we'll see another leg higher in this. It doesn't look too shabby at the moment. You know, we are still trading above the 200-day moving average and so on. So at the same time, alts do look ready to go, don't they? Yeah, now let's go back to Bitcoin, because an interesting thing happened at the end of 2017. So when we had the last big 5-wave rally up in Bitcoin in 2017, and so we're going to go back a bit here. Oops, I'm going to stop scribbling on my chart. Okay, so this really started here in September. Now, when we rallied from September to the beginning of November, the alts really didn't, this was like a wave one of the final wave, and the alts really didn't join in. And then we had a pullback. And it was only really when we got this third wave going that everything rallied together. And so I'm really hoping that we see this phenomenon again. So if we count the big rally that we've had from, you know, the start of the year to June as our wave one, and now we've had our pullback, and let's face it, from the start of the year until June, the alts didn't really join in. Yeah, a couple of them did, but the rest of the time, the alts were getting killed. Let's see if this time we can, and we start the third wave, and again, it's going to happen November. Let's see this time if alts did what they did before and they join in on the big wave three. That would be really good if we did. So there we go. Now, I do not want to underestimate the resistance we've got here at 73.50. If I put the weekly chart on, it's the weekly 50 moving average as well. We closed underneath it. Here at BitMEX, it's a little bit lower. On these other charts, we really do need to regain this weekly 50 moving average if we're going to go higher. It looks good at the moment, but you know, in a couple of days, it could all be, we could just fail at the resistance and carry on. Here, I'm going to put Coinbase on. Again, it looks good at the moment, but holding below the weekly 50 moving average. God, I've got all this pen drawing on it. I can't see it. Holding below, you can see this weekly 50 moving average wouldn't be good, and underneath this support and resistance level we've got here. So, you know, we've had one bullish day, but we really do have our work cut out to get above this. And if we can't, you know, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's holding a little Bitcoin, hopefully. And, you know, if we get rejected here, I'm going to give up and wait. Where are we going to go if we can't break this resistance? Well, this was the 61.8 fib level. The 786, which is next, which would make a Gartley pattern, is down at 5,600. Now, you can say, oh, I know Bitcoin's going to go up again. You know, does it wreck this view that this was a big wave one and this is just wave two and we're going to go higher again if we go down to the 786 fib? No, it doesn't. Just a deeper pullback. The problem is that, you know, you have capital and you have mental capital. So the capital is the money, the bank balance at your brokerage or your bank account. And then you have mental capital. And ask anybody who rode out this nasty pullback, holding all their Bitcoin, how painful that was for mental capital. When we got down here to 3,000, they were wrecked mentally. Didn't want to buy, didn't trust it. And you don't want to ride out pullbacks if you don't need to. So if we can't get above this and we turn lower again, you know, maybe consider reducing your position a bit so that you can buy it back down here at a better price. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. That's where we are with Bitcoin. So with a lot of these alts, we've got very similar patterns, but some of them look better. So let's talk about, for example, Ethereum, which looks so much better than it did this morning when we were underneath this level. Let's look at it. So this is a big 786 fib level for Ethereum. If you reverse at a 786 fib, your target is the 38.2, which is all the way up here. And your confirmation level that you are going up, and if you turn the trend, is if you go back above the previous fib support that you broke. That's this 61.8 here, and you can see what a huge level this is. Not just from this fib, but if you go left and look here, support, support, resistance, support, resistance, resistance, resistance. So 189 Ethereum US dollar. This is Coinbase price. But your mileage may vary slightly, but it shouldn't too much. Okay, that's what we're looking for on this weekly chart. Now, this big down candle, where might we hit resistance in between there and then? 50%, you know, when you have these big Marubosu candles, and this is a perfect Marubosu candle, 50% of the open close is normally resistance. So if we mark that in F, so we'll, that's 161.94. I can see it here. So 161.94. Okay, so at the moment, we've made that new low. So we could be setting up a bullish piercing line reversal candle. And they're as good as bullish engulfing. So you go and have a look at the pattern site and it'll tell you. So if this weekly candle can now close more than 50% up on this open close of this red candle, that will be the bullish reversal candle that we want to see this week. Now, might we get it? Might it be really thin liquidity? A lot of people are already on holiday for the Thanksgiving holiday. So where might this come from? Well, what if, say, the reason that we've been going down like this is because funds, hedge funds, have been selling it, or big players have been selling it. Well, they're going to want to take the holiday off, and they're going to need to cover their shorts, especially if it starts looking like there's signs of Bitcoin and Ethereum and these bouncing. So these people covering their shorts are going to be what will start the rally. And maybe they'll look to reestablish them after the holiday. But this week, that's maybe where we get our buying power from. So let's see how far, if we do, and how far it will take us higher from here. So looking good in ETH. Now, there's one way earlier. So do we want an earlier sign? Where is the resistance, and what's our earlier sign that Ethereum is going to go higher from here? Usually for me, it's the 236 fib of this most recent swing low of 5 waves. And here in Ethereum, we can see it's really clearly. I've got an hourly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we need to get above the 236 fib of this swing. And that looks like where we've got stuck today. Couldn't do a 4-hour. Let's see it if it couldn't see a 4-hour close above it. There we go. So expect to pull back in Ethereum, but potentially a bullish reversal. Let's look for a bottoming pattern. So a higher low, inverted head and shoulders, double bottom. Hope not. That would really squeeze a lot of people after a really good day. But ETH potentially. And I think if we take out today's high at 151, that will be a really good start. Okay, so Litecoin, we've done really. Litecoin has been really fugly, but a really good leading indicator. It's led the way, in moves down and up. So in Litecoin, I'm going to zoom out Litecoin US dollar rather than Litecoin Bitcoin, because we want to compare apples with apples. And you can see that we got underneath this 786 fib level at 48.72. If we are going to go up again in Litecoin, that's what we are going to need to get back above. 78 fib levels can be pretty sharp, so that's the one that I'm looking for. We haven't got there yet. Above 48.72, I think that we could see some decent continuation high, but don't be faked out. Make sure that we get above it and then hold above it on pullbacks. If we do, now, if you reverse at a 786 fib, your first place you're going to go is retest the fib that you broke. So that would be 69.52 and the 61.8. And if you break above it, then your target becomes up here, the 38.2 at 98. So first port of call for Litecoin, if we can rally and get back above this previous low, is 69.52. And then bigger reversal comes in if we can get beyond that. Okay, I'm taking a long time to talk about these tonight, and I apologize. Now, Bitcoin Cash ABC, I think, has further to fall, but Bitcoin Cash SV has been really resilient in this sell-off. And when you see a coin that's really resilient in a sell-off, then you look for it to become one of the leaders when we turn up again. So far, it hasn't done it, and so far we've stuck at resistance, I'm going to say. And so maybe these Bitcoin Cash SV, until we can get above these daily moving averages or Friday's high, potentially off the menu. And it might be that we see, if Bitcoin does look like it's going to do something, money may come out of these. So let's see. So for me, Friday's high in Bitcoin Cash SV, where I really want to see it breach beyond, is 114. So above 114, that's going to be the start of something potentially in this one. Sniper One says, you never know, we might get a Christmas rally. Let's hope it's better than 2017's. But yeah, we might. We might. You know, in legacy markets, stock market, currencies, you do see a holiday effect when you have a 3 or 4 day holiday. And, you know, in America, a lot of people will take this whole week off. They won't just take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. They won't just take Thursday. Nobody takes just Thursday. Everybody goes shopping on Friday. A lot of people take Wednesday off to get ready. And so, you know, we could see liquidity thin a lot. And if this has been, you know, actively shorted, we could see people covering those short positions going into the holiday. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. So these are the big ones. I'm just talking about the major coins and then we'll take a look at some setups that might trigger. So let's take a look at Monero XMR. One of the reasons we're looking at Monero is we've got a really nice big fat fib reversal, 886 fib, and another. If we close, I'm waiting to see where we close, but if we zoom in on the candlesticks, we have got a close, a new low, and then a close more than 50% of this down candle. In fact, we've got very, very similar in terms of candlesticks, the same as Bitcoin. So if we break the highs of these inside bars, that will trigger our Hikaki pattern. And if we break, and this is also back above these lows here. So you can see clearly in Monero US dollar where the resistance is. Now we need to see if we can close above it, and then up we go. So that's Monero. The next one, let's take a look at Ripple. We've looked at BSV already. I've gone a little bit out of order. I apologize. Okay, so Ripple Tether. So we're looking at, remember, we're looking to compare apples and apples. And so we're looking at Ripple Tether. Now this morning when I looked at this with my group, we were underneath this 1272 level, looking pretty gloomy, and we were going, gosh, we could, if we hold underneath this 1272, be looking all the way down to this 1.618 extension down here in Ripple Tether, which would be really ugly. And we've recovered it. We're back above this fib level. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly and show you how we drew it. It's this most recent rally and a correction. Here, this gave us this 1272 support, and here we are holding it. We don't really need this as support now. We just know that we're holding on to this previous low, and by closing back above, it becomes a swing failure pattern. So we, on a weekly, hopefully, and we could see some decent upside. So just like we looked at in Ethereum, 50% of this big, nasty weekly Marubosu is likely to be the first major resistance. 50% here would be 0.2415, above 0.2415, and expect a bit of a setback there. But I think if we can get above it and above this low from here at 0.2463, then up we go back to the weekly 20 moving average and higher. So, so far so good. Swing failure pattern in Ripple. Now, if we look at a 15-minute, let's see how we're doing at this support level, because we talk about this all the time. When you get above a support level, what you want to see is it hold. So far, we've pulled back and tested it twice. It's held, but we've got a little stuck getting out of trouble here. Now, let's see if it holds on this one, because if we don't, and if we fall back underneath, this is where you know you're wrong. Okay? And we're going to do a bigger correction. And these cryptos, you know, they like to do big double bottom things. Well, if you bought it here, you're not going to want to see that. So don't ride it out. Don't ever let a losing position become a bit, you know, a winning position become a big loser. You know, just wait for a better looking setup. This is a 15-minute chart of Ripple. If it's going to double bottom, let it try it and just wait and see. So Ripple, I think it's looking good, potentially. But let's zoom out again and get on Ripple. Okay, we're going to take, I'm just going to put regular candles on here on the daily. Oh, stop this nonsense. Okay, so from this high to this low, the kind of fib confirmation that we're going up is the 236 fib. So that's a little bit higher than where we are. It's at 0.22722. Above there, I think we're looking good for a date with 50% of this drop and the daily 20 moving average. Sometimes though with ABCs, you should really put them on both legs. And in this case, you can see this is 2 equal legs, and that makes it a little bit higher. So let's call it 0.2299 or 0.23. So above 0.23, I think we're looking really good for higher in Ripple Tether. So promising, but believe me, this is not a confirmed trend reversal yet. This is one bullish candle after a very long, nasty sell-off. We really do need to see some follow through, and we can get a little bit more optimistic above 0.2299. Okay, Ripple BSV. So Verge. Now there's a few coins out there that when you look at them against Bitcoin, they look really good. Here's Verge. So Verge, we've had this really cool bottoming pattern down here, haven't we? Look, so double bottom, double top, broke out, hit the double top bottom target. When you have a double bottom, you go twice this distance, so you measure from high to low, and that becomes your first target. And that we got here, we didn't quite tag this 200 moving average, but what I like about this is how we are holding support at the pivot level in the middle. So resistance becomes support. We're now looking to see if we can bounce off here and head higher in Verge. So not quite there yet, but this little double bottom today is very tempting. So we've got a small one. I think if we break above these highs here in this congestion in the middle, that will say that Verge is on the way up again to retest the highs and hopefully this time get through that resistance in the 200-day for another leg higher. So Verge. Now and then we kind of end up with a bigger inverted head and shoulders pattern, don't we? And that does happen a lot. So if we draw it like this and we're using this high here, you can see we've got left shoulder, big head, and then we'll make a right shoulder if we can rally from here. So then if we break above these highs, we're going to go twice this huger, bigger distance. So I'm just going to take this away. Verge. Now, you should always, if you're looking at a chart against Bitcoin especially, make sure that it's going to go up against the US dollar. So if we look at Verge, say against the US dollar, here. Now, we're not going up at the moment, although we've had a bit of a bounce today. We're holding these daily moving averages. We've got a bullish cross of these moving averages. I would not let this break down. Like, try and not. Let's see how it looks against Tether. Yeah. It's got some promise, but Verge, back above these daily moving averages and this level, a little bit higher here, would be a little bit more encouraging. Otherwise, and this is a good example of how, whenever you see a really good altcoin setup, take a look at it against the US dollar as well, and make sure, that it doesn't look terrible. All of these altcoin setups, if Bitcoin really rips initially, might get a little bit damaged before we go up again. The next one is ENG. This is one that we looked at last week because we were looking for this pullback to rally. We've done it really nicely. Remember, we were looking here for a reversal from the 886 fib level, where we double bottomed, and the confirmation would be if we got above this 786 fib. Well, we did. The problem is we stalled at an equal measured move level. So this swing is equal to this swing, and that indicates a correction very often, and is quite a normal place for profit taking. So what we now need to see, if ENG Enigma is going to keep going higher, is we need to find support from this level that was previously resistance and turn higher from here. So here, when I look at the 4 hour, you can see we've done that pretty nicely. It does look like we are turning up again. I'm going to go down one more time frame. So sometimes, we need a bigger correction. It's not quite over, and we haven't, if we look, quite tagged this level yet. So we may see one more swing lower. if we get stuck in a correction, very often the 50% from the high to the low is the trouble area. That's where we've hit here. So I think if we get beyond this 50% level, 5655, that would be a good sign that we are going up again from here. And you could put a tighter stop underneath this consolidation, because we shouldn't come back. We should keep going. So Enigma, one of our favorite picks from last week, we're looking for this pullback to keep going higher. V-Chain is the next one. Very similar things, you know, lovely rally, bullish moving averages on all time frames. We're looking for this pullback to the 20 moving average to hold support and carry on trending higher. Momentum suggests, you know, this is the same thing. If this is just the first leg and we're going to do a big A, B, C correction and back to this, say, you know, midpoint or 50% of the rally, then 50% of this drop is where we're going to get stuck. And again, that does look a little bit like where we are here in the middle. So I'd like to see from this sideways hourly consolidation a really strong break higher in V-Chain. If we are going to draw it like this as well, I'd put my probably put my alert somewhere like that. So V-Chain Bitcoin on the daily, looking for a pullback, and our target is this first big, we're going to zoom all the way out. So from the highs in July 2018, the 236 fib level, which is at 106, lines up with all these previous lows. It's a massive support and resistance level, and therefore it becomes kind of a really big, obvious target at 106 for a breakout here in V-Chain Bitcoin. Again, make sure that V-Chain US dollar really is going up as well. This one really is, or it has been, and it's a nice pullback to the daily moving averages here, and again 50% back in this one. So I'd like to see the rally continue in V-Chain US dollar as well. Next one we're going to look at is QSP. Now some of these, you know, have had massive volume as well, so let's keep going anyway. Can't remember where QSP is. Sorry, I'm going to take a second here. I have too many charts open. Okay, listen, if you guys all use TradingView, listen, and trust me, I don't get paid by TradingView, and I don't even get free charts from TradingView, and so I'm going to do this sale. They have got 60% off on a Black Friday sale this week. So if you like their charts, save yourself some money, and this week. So here's QSP. Look at this lovely chart here and this resistance level. For me, again, big target, well, my first target, and I was kind of, shouldn't really do these interim fibs. I should really do the whole swing. There. So the 200 move, I only did it because the 236 fib. So the first target is going to be the 200 moving average. If we break out from this congestion level, the congestion level is at 150. Okay, I think that we might from there rally to the 200 moving average, and that's where we may see, we'll either break through it and find support from it, but we may see a knockback that pulls back and retests this as now support. But our target is 250. So our resistance is 150, our target is 250 and these previous lows. And then our second target, bigger target, is these lows and highs up here in the 382, so 360. So 250, then 360 targets in QSP. If we can break from this, really, like how many times have we knocked on this door and not managed to get above it? So again, watch this on an hourly chart. You see how we're bunched up underneath it? I'd really, really like to see, if you're trading low time frame, get above it, find support, carry on higher. So QSP is one of my favorite looking charts tonight. Again, Bitcoin goes on the rampage, we will probably fail here initially and then break it sometime later when they all play catch up. CND is another one with a good decent look. Syndicator. It's had a spike today. Look at this. Okay, let's... A pump and a bit of a dump, unfortunately. So this high, this high, this high, 200 moving average. We've got profit taking and we've been hit all the way back. If we are, look, this daily CCI momentum indicator says turning up again. I would really like to see us above 119. I think then 151 would be resistance, but really 50% of this whole drop and these lows around here, better target 212, because I do think it's a bit, although it's a little, not terribly balanced, it is a pretty good bottoming pattern. So yeah, that takes us up to these lows and at least 200 for a target in syndicator. So looking for a breakout. If it doesn't happen, and if we come back all the way to the lows and Bitcoin takes off or everything in crypto goes south, then, you know, pattern not fail. It's not really going to be a long unless we can get above these highs. And yeah, 120 are the highs. Yeah. So syndicator, that's a really good look on a bottoming pattern. Monetha, very similar. See all of these charts, they've either got bottoming patterns or they've got lower highs or something like that. See how important this 200-day moving average has been for Monetha Bitcoin. If we can get above the 200 moving average here, which is also at 200, I think we've got lots of upside. The 236 fib comes in at 350. I have drawn it from this high initially. Maybe I should have drawn it from here. I just didn't like this reaction. It didn't work for me. That's why I'm doing it from this one. Now, that because and the reason is that if we then from here, if all we do in Monetha is make two equal sort of corrective measured moves, then that would take us to that 236 fib level like this. In fact, I'll do it from here. There we go. 350. So a break above the 200-day moving average in Monetha above 196 gives us a target of 349. Again, we might just fail here, head lower. This might just be a bear flag. And obviously, no breakout, no trade. So there we go. Ost has got a good look. Here's Ost. These charts all look the same. I bet they're all going to live or die. They're either all going to work or they're all not going to work. But this is Ost Bitcoin. Had to go today all the way back. Really, we've got to get above 170 in Ost. I've got, as you can see, I've got an alarm here. If we can close above 170, I think we'll take out this 200-day moving average. And then the target in Ost is 344. That's where the big 236 fib is from this kind of last correction. But, you know, if I wasn't using fibs, I would just say, okay, these first time back to these previous lows would be good targets. So this would be our first target, and this would be kind of twice the range of this bottoming pattern. So 250, that around 250, maybe a little bit lower. That would be my first target, and then my second target would be here from this low and these highs at 367. So you don't have to have fib levels. Sometimes they line up, look. So they're not perfect. 236 fib around here as well. 38.2 around this level as well, just from this last kind of big drop. So that's what I'm looking for in that one. Did I miss XLM? Oh no, I didn't have an XLM on the list. Someone asked it. I'm just going to go through the list, okay? If you look underneath the video screen, you'll see a list of coins that I'm doing in order. I'm going to do them in order, and then I'm going to go through and do all the requests, all right? So I'm just going to do the charts that I kind of scan myself first, okay? Because otherwise it just becomes, you know, people watching the video later, it just gets all a bit messy. Messy's okay, but you know, messy charts aren't always good. I really try and keep my charts not too cluttered. I was mentored by a guy who was a perfect minimalist. Like these charts here, they would do his head in. He would freak out if he could see these. Okay, here's another lovely bottoming pattern in Gnosis. The difference, this is an Adam and Eve bottom, double bottom, hopefully. So here's our spike low in November 2018, and here's our rounded retest that formed an inverted head and shoulders pattern in Gnosis. So Adam and Eve double bottom, and here we are right at the neckline, I think, of this. It's not perfect, it's probably better as a cup and handle. Anyway, if we draw it like this and we say this was a left shoulder, we are kind of breaking out, and we're breaking out above the 200-day moving average as well. So the good news about that is that, whether it's a cup and handle or a head and shoulders, the target's the same. It's twice the distance from the low to the high of the pattern, which takes us back to these lows and highs here, and a pretty good target then here, 0.00254 or 254,700 in the middle here. So that's going to be our first target on a breakout here in Gnosis, and then our second target, no brainer, these highs and the 236 fib up here at 382,547. So very nice Adam and Eve double bottom potentially forming, and holding above this 200-day moving average would be our bullish sign. I'm going to put my fib on all the way from this high to this low, and you can see that this 236 fib from this high to this low is acting as our resistance at the moment. So that, rather than the 200-day, is going to be our confirmation level. So at 198,879. There we go. There we are. You can see it pretty perfectly on the hourly and how we've got knocked back here. So we've got the support just here of the 200 moving average, and the resistance just here of this 236 fib. A breakout, I think, of this box then will tell us which way next for Gnosis. Hopefully it's up. Okay, Fetch. This one had massive volume. And why not? It's a pretty pattern, this one as well. There's a few of them about, aren't there? Let's take this RSI off. Let's put some volume on. Look at this volume buying here. When we zoom out, boom. So lots of buying, lots of interest. What's our exact level? I don't think we're going to be able to use a fib level from this one because it's just been such a long downtrend. I might try from this swing here. There. Now that's where our target's going to come from then. The 236 fib is going to be our target all the way up here at 1,057, where the 200-day moving average is, and this lovely support and resistance level here. So again, this is another one of my favorite charts tonight, Fetch, and we are looking for a break above this pivot level and this high 626. So if we can get above and hold above 626, and it looks like we're just turning up, huge volume. First target is 1,057, and then above 1,057 we've got our daily reversal. We'll be above the 200-day moving average, and we can claim a daily uptrend. Not until then though. Okay, so that's my second favorite chart of the night, Fetch. Let's look at Sonam, S&M. Now this was ripping this morning, and I'm watching where we close. This is S&M Bitcoin. Okay, zoom out. Look, I've from this high to this low, this last big swing lower. This is our 236 fib level. It's at 276. And this previous high, that's where we got stuck. We're above the 200 moving average. We've got a really nice strong move going on. Now, if you bought this from this breakout, from this lovely cluster here, this would be your first profit target. If we reverse here, this is not going to look so clever. However, when we come down and we look at an hourly, these dips are being bought. This looks like really nice bullish consolidation. So let's see if we can get above this level and hold above it and break above it. So if you're watching this and think, I'd like to be in, that's what you'd like to see. You need to see a move above and then a pullback to find support from the level to show that, to prove it, and then we'll carry on higher. So then our target becomes 400. So above 276, next target is 400 in Sonam, and then I need to put in this 50% because it's a big one. There we go. Look at the support and resistance here around this 50% level at 501. So that would be my target, 501. Eric just took profit on Atom earlier today, just below 5. Well done. Atom was a pretty good move, wasn't it? Well done, you. Sonam Fuel. I know you're all going to say, oh, I'm not going to touch fuel unless ETH rallies, but let's take a look anyway. Oops, 1 second, I've got to find it. There we go. So many charts. Here we go. Fuel. Look at this big move today. Ta-da! So we had one really strong rally. Here's our pullback, A, B, C, uptrend starting again. Now, this was a messy. Was it a messy 786, or did we reach the 886? We reached the 886. That's really important because when you reverse at an 886 fib, your first target is the 50%, which is here. And if we go beyond it, your second target is the 236 fib. So that means that if we can hold above 58, we're going to look for 76 next in Fuel Bitcoin. Now, we could come all the way back and close underneath it. That's how crypto is sometimes, you know. So by no means am I guaranteeing it, but we need to hold. If we're going to hold above it, look at this lovely break. If we hold above 58, we should go to 76 next in Fuel. I'm going to look at one. Here we go. Another one. Look at this lovely lows, lows, highs, highs, break. Should be support, carry on higher. Target 134. That's the big fib level in Harmony Bitcoin. Let's see. So far, we've already been back and pulled back and tested it. Problem is, with these bigger corrections, is it's going to be like this one. Very often, they're 3 waves or more. So don't be surprised if we don't make a new high. If we don't make a new high, expect another pullback and a retest before we go higher again in one. But I would really like to see this 84 level hold as support. And if this 84 level holds as support, continue higher to 134 in Harmony Bitcoin. That's the first big fib level. Now, there's going to be a bit of trouble maybe ahead of there. Maybe from this spike low. That comes in at 110. But my target would be 134. So next one, we're nearly done. MATIC. MATIC's been so well behaved. It was naughty for a bit, but it's on it now. So from this high to this low on my fibs, a la Connie Brown. Okay, we had a really cool support and resistance level from this initial spike high that lined up with the 236 fib, and that knocked us back quite a long way in MATIC. If we put our fibs on this, you know, this looked like a horrible A, B, C correction and looked like we were heading for new lows, in fact, in MATIC. But when I put my fibs on like this, you can see this 50% level again, once again, held in the middle. That's usually a sign that the move is a correction if the 50% holds. And from this 50%, we launched higher again. So look, from this high to the low, that level was when we went beyond the 50%. That was an early warning we were going to go higher. And here we go again. I'm going to put regular candles on instead of Heikinashi because it looks like we smashed through this 38.2. Therefore, we could, on pullbacks, continue higher to 327, which would be the 50% of the entire drop next. And then so on. Very nice, strong uptrend for MATIC by pullbacks. Okay, let's start doing with some. I'm going to do as many requests as I can, okay? I can't believe there are so many tonight after we've been in such a horrible down market. Now, Link, for me, has pulled back to really great daily moving average support here. And I'm going to put regular candles on. Great support. Now, sometimes in an irregular correction, if this was the high, it may be that this correction was complete. So this is A, B, C, and this B leg made a new high, and this is the start of a new upswing. In which case, we would look for support halfway back, which is where we're kind of holding on. And if that's the case, we'll rally from here. I'm a bit concerned, however, that this wasn't this. This is just a slightly lower high B, and we may see. Either way, it's pretty clear that since October we've been in a sideways range and had a lot of trouble breaking out of it. You know, a lot of trouble. We'll put our fibs on this way. This is a twice reversal. One of the reasons that I think that we're going to get another leg lower in Link Bitcoin. Okay, normally when you reverse at an 886 fib, your target is the 50%. Okay, so that for us is here. The problem is on this swing we didn't quite tag it, and now here we've got a lower high. Well, if we measure these two legs, so in other words, if we measure that high to the low, we project it from here, that gets us to this 50% level. So I'm thinking that maybe we might, this is all, you know, a bit corrective. Either way, I'm going to be wrong if we see a strong rally from here that puts us above this last 4 days of consolidation so far, and we outperform Bitcoin, and then I would be interested in it. So it looks here on the 4 hour like we've made a pretty good base, but we really need to take out the highs and turn this around if we're going to go higher. So I'm going to say this high in the middle here, 33,730 maybe. That would confirm this double bottom that here. Okay, if we break out this high, that would say next leg higher underway. Otherwise, I'm afraid I think the path of least resistance for me in Link Bitcoin may be a retest of the 7,100 area in Link Bitcoin. So, yeah, that's not... I love Link, but it's not, I don't think, ready for us to buy yet. Okay, RLC... You know, I nearly covered this one. The problem with RLC for me is I think we're really kind of, if this whole rally is kind of correct, we're really close to that 50% of the entire drop. So from this high to this low. And so for me, the risk reward here, because I think it's a lovely long setting up, but the risk reward to the next target, which is at 83.54, isn't there. You know, that's why it wasn't one of my top picks. So do I think that we're in a nice uptrend and we're going to move higher from here? I absolutely do. I just think that this 50% up here might be a bit of an issue. And that's why it wasn't on my list. So that level is at 108.354. Next resistance, if we go beyond that, happy days, and it does look good for it. You know, there's better support and resistance at this 61.8 level. So 108.354 first target, 129.982 second target, if we can go beyond it. So yeah, lovely uptrend. Buy pullbacks. Let me make this darker so you can read it. That's what we're looking for. 108.354 and then 129.982. Just watch out for the resistance of that first one. Okay, next one we're going to look at is FSN. I don't think I have a chart prepared for that one. Let's see. Fusion Bitcoin. Gosh, this is doing well, isn't it? This is, you know, look how tricky this 50% level has been. This profit taking here. So that's level 19,001. So if we're going to see continued upside, we really need to hold above 19,001 and then we can keep climbing the stairs. And it looks like we've just gotten rejected again. So now, where would the support be if this is 50? See this big open close of this green candle? That's where I would look for the support if we're going to keep trending higher. 15789. Okay. So 15789 is down here, around here somewhere. In fact, let's just call it this. We could call it the hourly 200 moving average, 15789, these lows. As long as that holds, I think a good chance that we rally from here and continue higher. It was a really nice, in terms of candlesticks, it looks like we're all set to go higher. But if we rally and try again and fail again at 19,000, then time to wait until we get above it and find support and carry on higher. So really good look, but 19,000's got a big problem on it at the moment. And it may be if we see a big rally in Bitcoin that that's going to hurt it. TRX and ADA. Now, TRX for a little while, it was doing really much better than a lot of other coins. So here's our daily chart. So what we've been doing in TRX is waiting. I'm just going to put regular candles on, waiting for this correction to be over, and we continue higher. My target up here is 250 for Tron. Now, I'm going to measure these two swings here. You see, we've made a really nice ABC correction. So in my group, we've been watching it this week, and we want to see us get back above this 50 moving average to say that we're going higher. Another signal that we are going higher and this ABC correction has worked is this 236 fib. Well, this has not worked so well for us. It's been, in fact, a little bit messy. So let's go down and see if that, in fact, it paid any attention to it at all. I guess it kind of did. We just had a little false break above it. So as long as we stay above this equal measured move here, I am looking for TRX Bitcoin to continue higher. I do think it's got a really good look. But this daily 50 and these last two highs are really going to be our trigger, and we'll ignore the fibs for this for now. In fact, probably better to look from here, isn't it? Let's see. Look at this perfect 50%. Now, this gives you a really good, so from this low to this high, ABC, perfect 50%. It's a really nice long setup in TRX. Now, very often when you have a 50% retrace one way, then you'll get trouble at the 50% going the other way. So I would mark it. It's here, 216. Watch out. We may have a little stall there. But no, everything points to a break higher in TRX Bitcoin, and above 206 would be my trigger, and that daily 50 moving average. ADA hasn't looked so happy. Let's see what's going on with ADA. So if we do the same thing, so as Bitcoin, so from the start of the year rally, we measure where we are in terms of fib levels, and we've been trying to bounce off and launch from the 886 fib level here in ADA. Here's our 886 fib level, and I've drawn it generously from this low to high here, but really if we put it on the January low that we've been looking at in Bitcoin, this is actually the support and resistance level that we're sitting on, isn't it? So 886 fib, support and resistance level. So let's draw it like that. And then this is why I'm not so happy with ADA. Okay, move this out of the way. put regular candles on. So if we're going to hold a level, what the last thing you want to do is break underneath it and then get rejected by it. So here's our level, okay, and so far we haven't got back above it. So for me to get excited about ADA, Bitcoin, I want to see it hold and stay above and find support from 0.037. So 0.037. In every other respect, you know, it's bottom of the range, hasn't made, you know, it hasn't made a catastrophic new low. You know, it's made a new low and then bounced all the way back, so it's pretty choppy. This could count as a 4-hour swing failure pattern, but this fib level now becomes the key thing. So 0.037 ADA US dollar for it to go higher. Now, ADA Bitcoin. So I realise I haven't compared apples and oranges, but let's do the daily here. Now this looks a lot more positive. The problem is these highs. So I'm just going to take those fibs away. That's where, in fact, no. As you know, in a downtrend, I put fib projections on the corrective bounces, and we are underneath this 1272 level, but I have also got a support from a 1.618. I haven't quite got it on here. So this becomes this resistance level at 528 that we need to break above in ADA Bitcoin if we're going to go higher. And you can see how many times we've tried and haven't managed. You know, we've had a look above this level, haven't managed to daily close above it. And all the time we do this starts to look a little bit of a bear flag, and it points to the 1.618, which is a long way down. So it may be that ADA is about to be massively outperformed by Bitcoin. I don't know. I know that if I wanted to buy it, I want to see us back above 528, and then I will be much more comfortable that ADA is going higher. So for now, that's off my radar. And now we're going to look at Rep and Repeth. Let's see what we've got here. That's my dog having a very noisy drink. I apologise. God. Take it up. I'm sure she'll stop in a minute. So let's look at Rep-Eth. We'll get a daily chart. Okay. Now, we've had a lovely, what I think is 5 waves up in this one, and so liable for a 3-wave correction. But let's talk about where we are in terms of fifth. So fib resistance. So we're going to go from all the way from this high to the lowest low, and here we are hanging around this 236 fib level. Now, it was perfect resistance here, and it was perfect resistance here. Now we've got above it. So if it's going to be, and if it's really a nice breakout from this double top high that we're looking at, and not a false breakout, we need to not come back too far and find support and keep going. Otherwise, it's just kind of choppy, overlapping stuff, isn't it? So when we look lower here, this looks pretty encouraging. Rep-Eth, in fact, is this level that was resistance here and here is in fact now support. And so now we can say, okay, let's join the highs of this congestion that we're in, and we'll wait for the time that we break out, and then that's going to be our long signal. So we are holding at new highs, consolidating sideways, and I would like to see a breakout higher in Rep-Eth to prove that we're going to keep going higher from here. And so we've proved this 236 fib, so we know we've drawn the fibs correctly. And so now we're going to say, okay, if we do that, then our next target will be the 38.2. It's at 0.08925 and these lows. So a really good support and resistance level as well. So look for a breakout. First target 0.8925. Okay. Sean says, don't forget to subscribe to my videos and hit the bell, and then when I go live, and I sometimes do unscheduled lives, bonus, you will get notified. Good point, LaShawn. Thank you. Okay. Where are we going now? And my channel's not monetized, so don't worry. It won't, you know. What are we doing next? We've just looked at Augur, Rep. We're going to look at XLM, Lumen. Which... now, now that we're looking here at XLM dollar rather than XLM Bitcoin, I think you can see what the problem is here. We had a little bit of a bear flag or a bearish pennant. We couldn't get above the 200-day moving average. We got rejected at this resistance, and unfortunately, this says still in a downtrend here. Now, we have not made a new low, and our daily moving averages have flattened out. So it is possible in XLM Tether that we retest this low, this previous low, and we find some support here. If I measure where fib support is though from this swing, it may be, I'm going to leave that for now. So potentially sideways range, double top, and we're going to look for a retest of the lows. And so so until then, and so what I'd really like to see actually here would be a nice swing failure pattern. So a little trip underneath and then a really strong bullish reaction. That would make me a bit more confident about Tether. So while it's going down against US dollar, I'm not that interested. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. And this is a good example of how, you know, you can get sucked in. If when Bitcoin's been selling off, it looks better than it is. But here we are, sideways range going on as well in a stellar Bitcoin. So here are our highs and the 200-day moving average. Here are our lows and the daily 50 moving average. So if we break these lows again, I think at the moment, and there is some promise here because this does look like a little, so we've, although it's a choppy overlapping trend, we do look like we're moving higher. The problem here is this looks like an ABC correction. So if I measure this high, this swing higher and project it from this low, this was equal. Okay. And so it's all, you know, a little bit, you don't want it to come back too far. I think here now, if we're going to find support, we've done a little ABC correction this way. So potentially we could rally from here, but I think I'm a bit neutral, Lumen at the moment. Now, what we get, I think, and I know I hate to say this, but if we lose this support here, we could see a big fat retest of the lows. So, you know, just be a little careful. You know, this is where the support will come in. Watch out for a big retest of the lows in this one. So I wouldn't be long. I wouldn't be long Lumen Bitcoin at the moment. I'd like to see a big double bottom against US dollar. Or I'd like to see a break of these highs and then another attempt. For now, it just looks neutral to me. Okay, next is EOS, then Atom, and then BNB. Great. EOS. EOS. The coin of disappointment. I'm going to start with EOS Bitcoin. Now, we had a big, let's go to a daily, had a big, what I thought was maybe a diamond here. Diamond pattern. It failed to make a new high. So it's not a diamond pattern. In fact, now what it is a big wedge in a downtrend. And the problem with big wedges in a downtrend is they tend to break lower with the trend. So in terms of EOS Bitcoin, I don't see EOS outperforming Bitcoin anytime soon until we can break these highs or we make a false break lower and then a sharp reaction. So one thing I would say, so if we're looking for last legs, end of trends usually end with 5 waves. So if this is our last leg lower in this trend, this is 1, 2, 3. This is our wave 4, which is usually often shallow and a wedge. So we're looking for one more push lower from here. So this move shorting EOS will be the last leg of the trend, and then we should see a really strong reaction the other way. Okay, so against Bitcoin, it's not shouting buy me yet, but I think soon it may. Now, if we think that this is going to be one of those rallies where everything rallies together, then it should mean that EOS dollar does all right. And if that's the case, oh, come on. If that's the case, then here EOS dollar retesting this 886 fib level at 2.359 may very well find support and rally from here. I just don't think that until it's outperforming Bitcoin, it's going to be a really good buy. So I think the bottom is soon, but and in fact here we've actually made a new low just, haven't we? This has broken down and just given us a new low. So that may be all we need to rally from here, from this 886 fib level, but it's not screaming buy me yet. Hopefully soon. It was a nice bullish day today from this 886 fib level. I think the first, therefore, if you're looking at EOS dollar and what level would confirm that we're going higher, 2.6699, that would be a good sign. 2.6699. The 236 fib from this high to low, last leg lower. So that's EOS and BNB. Atom and BNB. Okay, Atom. The mighty Atom, we should call it. The mighty Atom. Now, we've got this thing going on with the this is a coin that's respecting these from the high. This is Binance chart from this high to low. It's respecting these fibs really nicely. So the 236 knocked us back, false break higher, knocked us back. Then we finally got above it, and here we're doing the same thing at the 38.2. So 49.28. Knocked us back a long way back to the daily 50 moving average. Look how this daily 50 moving average is such good support on pullbacks. And now we're trying again. So we're not going to go higher from here to the 50% at 5896 yet until we can break above this. So this becomes our next zone, our trade zone from here to here. And look at these support and resistance levels as well that we've got to get above. We've got some work to do here. So that's a high Kanashi candle, an average. Let's see where we are. Because we're not that far off breaking above it, are we? Let's be honest. We've got knocked back today. We're having another go. I almost think this is worth a buy. And we'll see if we get above it. And then, if we do, that'll be support. And then that's our next target. So 49.28 is key in Atom Bitcoin. And then it'll take us to 58.96 next. So, and finally, BNB. I look at BNB all the time. Is it ready to buy again yet? Is it ready to buy again yet? One of the reasons that I got put off BNB Bitcoin was this ABC correction that we made here. Whenever you see a three-wave correction and the legs are equal, it very often points to the rally being corrective. And so here in BNB, that's what happened. And it also happened at a back test of a fib level. So let's zoom out and take this away so we can see what we're looking at. Okay, so from way back, the low back in July 2017 to the high that we made in April 2019, we bounced from a 61.8 level. So bottom of a golden ratio zone. If you are going to go to the 38.2 target, you've got to negotiate the 50% level in the middle, which acts as a pivot. And we didn't. We stalled there with an ABC. So I'm thinking that we come back and we may be at risk of retesting this 61.8 level. A double bottom there would be a good look, and then we can maybe get up to that 38.2. I might be wrong, but normally when you have an ABC correction like this, if in harmonic patterns, I'm not a big fan of this pattern, but the cipher pattern would usually point to a 786 retrace and these prior lows as well. So it may be that we've got a little bit further to fall. What's encouraging at the moment in BNB? So that's the bearish argument. The bullish argument is, looky here. This is a 50% pullback, you know, and that's quite often a sign of a correction. And so if we can hold this 50% pullback level here and rally from here, that wouldn't look so bad, would it? Let's see if we can. There it is. So anyway, I can't read it, so I'm going to put it on the right so I can read it. Okay, 21,353. So we're looking to see if that holds on this retest as support, and if we can turn higher from here, and then we might have a kind of a better bullish look. And then see these highs in the middle? That would be our confirmation, and then hurrah. But be careful. Coinathon. Okay, the Monday night Coinathon is over. Thank you very much for coming. If you would like to listen to me every day, you can join my strategy group for only £25 a month, which is like $30. Bargain. And then you get to talk to me every day. All right, then. I'm really... Now, listen, I know I sound really cheerful and optimistic tonight. We need to have the serious talk, though, because we're not out of trouble in Bitcoin. We're not above the resistance level yet. 73.74 here at Coinbase. You know, if we can't get back above this resistance, we're still in trouble and we're headed lower in Bitcoin. And so if you've got some, protect yourself. There's a very good chance we head back to 5,600. I know, my dog drinking. You can't stress when you're listening to a dog drinking, can you? All right, everyone. Good night. Have a really great week. If you're American and you're watching, have a lovely, lovely Thanksgiving and enjoy your family and be nice to each other. Bye, everyone. I appreciate all of you.